Okay, guys, we are here at Shollots Studios. Shollots Studios is located at Ikolaba Estate. So, we are here to have a live session with Shollots Studios. Stay tuned till the end of this video. This is the inside of Shollots Studio. This is how the interior view looks like. This is the reception where clients are being taken and the likes. So here the words of Mr. Shollots and be wise. Thank you.
Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Yes, this is a new month, and in my previous video I promised to bring someone to have a session with the person. In this video we are going to be having an interview with one of the biggest people in the game of photography, especially in the city of Ibadan. You can guess the person already. Just stay tuned. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to this channel if you have not, and hit on the notification button. Okay, sir. Thank you for coming on this interview. So, kindly introduce yourself, sir.
Okay, my name is Mr Rolayo Sholotan, aka Shollots Studios. I'm the CEO of Shollots Studios, an indigenous photography outfit located in Ibadan.
Next question. Your level of photography has bestowed some level of leadership on you. What does it mean to you, sir?
Well, in the business of photography, I'm not a small boy, so to speak. I've been shooting. This is going to be my 22nd year of being in photography. I started during the analog days. I was looking at some people from afar and I was copying their style. When the digital emerged, I was part of those that first got onto the digital train, because I remember as at 2003 I was already shooting using a point and shoot camera, and then as at 2005 I invested in my first DSLR, which is digital single lens reflex camera, which costed a fortune at that time, but I was able to bite the bullet and go the whole hog. So over the years I've had different chances of also leading, of having people work with me, training young people who today are masters in their own right. They also have their own studios, they're on their own and all that. Both male and female have passed through Shollots Studios at one point in time. And because of this, it has made me to become somebody known in the industry. Not to talk of the various clients we've worked for, both individually and corporately, both within the country and outside the country, and it's been a very, very interesting period in the last 22 years, and it's something that has made me to be able to be amongst the few on top in the field of photography.
So, how did you get into photography?
How did I get into photography? Okay, I was an undergraduate in the University of Ibadan. I studied chemistry, and during my final year I had an extra year, and well, it wasn't something out of the blues or out of the ordinary for you to have an extra year at that time. But unfortunately, when I was sitting for a compulsory course, I was ill, so I had to do that course again. So that means I had a second extra year, and I felt, wow, my life was coming to an end. So I felt depressed, and I went to see my brother-in-law in Lagos, and he encouraged me. In fact, I was ready to drop chemistry and go and start in Unilag to study business admin or something like that, but encouraged me to finish. So I set a goal for myself. One was photography. I wanted to start a skill, also to learn a language, and most especially to graduate at all costs that particular year. So I needed a camera. I knew my father had a camera, which was an old camera. The name of the camera is called Exactica. It's a German product. I'm sure they don't make those cameras again. Full manual camera and analog. So I took the camera without his consent, because I knew if I told him that I was going to start photography, he would definitely object. So I took it without his consent, and I went to a studio not too far from our house. And I say this, fortunately I saw his boys, and the boys I asked them, I saw a lot of numbers around the camera, on this lens and everything. So I was like, what are all these things? So they said, okay, this controls the aperture, this one on the lens controls the aperture, this one controls the speed on the camera and everything, your ISO. Well, about that time we were still doing analog, so it was for the ISO was a pretty straightforward thing. So like my whole training to start photography was like 30 minutes. So after then I left the place and I went to my church and I told my friends, I'm now a photographer, and they were like, wow, that was nice. Well, okay, come and take me, come and do that. And I started taking them, and little by little, I took individuals. Then my church too was like, okay, we have a convention coming up, can you cover it? Because there was no photographer in the church at that time. So, and I decided to do it. And that's how I gradually started taking pictures for people, taking naming ceremonies and all that. So that's in a nutshell was how I actually kicked off my journey in photography.
So how did you now turn this, your passion, photography, into a business? At what line did that happen?
Let me be honest with you. When I went into photography, it wasn't because I was passionate per se, because at that time I was a struggling undergraduate. I was in my mid-20s. I needed to start making money because I got tired of asking my parents, or especially my mom, because if I wanted to go to Mokola, you go and meet mommy. I mean, a 26-year-old young man, asking for money to buy boxers. No. I didn't want that. I wanted that to stop. So I needed to be making. So I looked at it that, okay, with photography, I'll be able to do that. So my goal in the photography from day one was to make money. But along the line, it wasn't that I wasn't passionate. It wasn't that it was just passion that drove me. But along the line, the passion developed more. Why? Because at that time, if I get into your house and some of my friends have taken their pictures and I see my picture on their mantelpiece or hanged on their wall and everything, it got me so joyful that this person really liked my pictures, for that person to have framed it, for that person to have put it on the wall and things like that. So I developed then also the idea that, okay, I could be creative with it, because I used to tell myself that photography is a creative art. There's no limit to what you want to do about it. So I was like, okay, I could be creative. So I started reading magazines. I'll go Yaba, go to Lagos, all those old books. I'll ask, do they have anything on photography? They'll show it to me. I'll buy it at a reduced rate. I saw Complete Photography, Popular Photography. These were old magazines. These were fairly used magazines, and I'll take it, I'll read it. Because the thing about it with photography is that some people have gone ahead, especially the whites. They've learned this thing, they now document it. And if you follow what they document, you get almost exactly the same result, or something close, or exactly that same result. So that's how I did that, and from there on, little by little. I told my friends I was not a photographer. I wasn't shooting them for free. Even though the pictures were not the clearest of pictures, but they were still ready to part away with their little change, because at that time, how much was it? 5x7, maybe 50 naira or something like that. So, and at that time, 50 naira was easy to come by and everything. So I started making money from my day one of photography, and from there on, that has been what has been for me.
So, what was the experience of your first wedding gig, your first wedding job? How was it like?
Okay, my first wedding job was, I started photography July 4, 2000. Then December of that 2000, a church member also goes like, Rolayo, my brother is getting married. Can you cover it and everything? And I was like, yeah, why not? I can come. And he's in Lagos. And I was like, okay, fine, why not? I will follow you to Lagos. So we went to Lagos. I didn't know the couple before that day of their engagement and wedding. I didn't know them from Adam, and it was just his older sister that I was following. Okay, so I had a friend, Femi Olaturoti, which told me that when you're going to cover an event, don't rely on one camera. Always have a backup camera, and that has saved me. That has saved me a lot, because I now told him, but I have only one camera. I said, okay, I'll borrow you mine. So I borrowed his own, and I went with my camera. I think at that time I already had a Yashica, and he borrowed me. His own was a Ricoh or something, so he borrowed me and all that. So on getting to the location of the wedding and everything, I was just a greenhorn. I didn't know about, so I was just there, calm, collected and everything. So the bride came, and when the bride came, the photographer that was shooting the bride came down of the bride's car, and I saw his gear. And at that time, to me, the major camera was either a Nikon or a Canon, and I saw a Nikon on his neck, and I was like, wow, Nikon camera, wow, wonderful. This man is holding a machine and everything. And we both started, though I didn't go with just kit lens. I think I had a 200mm telephoto lens, which I used at that time to part of it to do, and it was an outdoor thing. It was beside the lake, so I did that. I started shooting, and it came out very nice, because with the 200mm telephoto lens, I could stand afar, take a picture of the couple, and it would blur the background. I did that with certain pictures and everything. The man and I, which was more older than me, we worked quite seamlessly well, and it was a fantastic job, which it was a success for me. To a large extent, it was a success, because the pictures came out right and all that, and at least majority of the pictures came out right. Okay, so for 2 years, my camera was in my camera bag. I didn't have an office. I didn't have a place to work or something like that. So I decided I needed a base. You needed a place where you need a face behind the name. It's not just that I'm Shollots and a walking around photographer. Even though I did that for 2 years, so I needed a base, and I had a studio. I started a studio in a shopping complex called the Calabar Shopping Complex. I took one of the small shops. I redid it to a large extent. Not the way those olden days studios used to do, whereby the partition. Mine was just an open space, and we had a computer from from the start, because that was 2002. So my first trainee, Michael, I call him Mike T because he was tall. After I had him, another trainee, Mike S, so that one was short. But Mike T was my first trainee ever. I sent him to the because we didn't know jack about computer or anything, so I sent him to a friend that does computer training. So he trained Mike even before me, because I didn't have time. I used to go out a lot and everything. So he trained Mike. Mike was the one that now showed me some things in Photoshop and everything. Then from there, we started teaching ourselves, and other people started joining. But the reason why I had a studio at that time was, and since then, was because you need a place to put your face. When people ask me, I want to have a studio of my own and everything, and I tell them studios have overheads. Are you ready for the overhead? Like now we don't have electricity, we're on gen. Are you ready to power gen? Are you ready to buy ACs? Are you ready to buy computers and everything? If you have a space in your house, why don't you use that from start, rather than going to, because you have to pay for rent, you have to pay for electricity, you have to pay for security, you have to pay for petrol, you have to pay for utility and everything. So it comes with a lot of overhead. But if you are ready for that overhead, my advice to you is, if you want to own a studio, don't go for a very big space. Start with a small space, a space that you can easily accommodate, and from there you grow gradually. It's better for you to grow gradually than to go start big and you start shrinking to where you are supposed to have started from.
So the next question is, okay, you said you've been in photography for about 2 decades. How has the industry been? What have been the ups and downs? How has it been generally, like since that time till now?
Okay, so the industry has metamorphosized. I came in during the film era, whereby we used film, analog days, and the cameras were full analog and everything. But within 2000 and 2005, 2008, really digital came in 2003. But by 2008, a lot more photographers had coming into digital. I knew I had talked with some of the older ones than me then about digital, and they're like, that one will come and go. This analog will stay. That one will come and go and everything. And there was just like Polaroid camera that, there was an era whereby Polaroid camera, but it didn't last long because it didn't stay. But I got on the bandwagon of the digital world, and it's metamorphosized into the digital cameras, whereby we now did everything digital. We went, what was it called? Printing, digital and everything. And to be honest with you, it was a challenge, because I'm based in Ibadan. At that time, there was no digital lab in Ibadan. There was no digital lab until 2012 or something like that. So you had to be going to Lagos to go and print. And there was no idea of I send it via WeTransfer or something like that. You have to carry your flash, you carry your laptop, you enter bus, you go to, and to be honest with you, we had just one in Ikeja and one on the island. And I think the first one was on the island. So you had to go, take a bus, then you had to go to VI. I did that a couple of times, you had to do that. Then you now go and print and bring your pictures, and it was not photo book or anything, it was just 5x7s. And to be honest with you, at that time they were charging us about 150 naira for just one copy of 5x7. And what I'm telling you is was year 2007, 150 naira at that time, whereas they were still charging for those that were shooting on film. They were still charging maybe 20 naira. We were giving them lesser stress, but we were paying more because we were digital. The guys that were doing it were ripping us off, because really the analog, they had to scan this film before they now print it on the digital. But we had already shot on digital. They didn't need, but the guys just capitalized on where you have the digital, because the digital camera at that time was almost was about 10 times the cost of an analog camera. Because I mean, and for you to own one, that means you're a big boy, so to speak, in that line. So it metamorphosized to digital, and now we're running the era of digital. Now we're going from DSLRs to mirrorless cameras. We've gone from climbing helicopter to go and shoot aerial photos, or going on crane or a high skyscraper to shoot an aerial view. We've gone to drones, whereby you can stand somewhere and you fly your drone and it takes the pictures and all that kind. So photography keeps moving forward, and my advice to anybody coming behind is that follow the trend, but don't let the trend carry you too much, because you see, if you are just going after the trend, you might burn yourself. Why am I saying that? Because the camera makers are always making new cameras almost every year. Now if you want to buying the latest cameras, you know what our exchange rate is. The client you want to shoot for does not know, most of them, I can tell you 90% of them does not know jack about the camera you are holding. What they are after is the final product, and if a final product does not match what you are holding, then they will tell you you are not a good photographer. So the thing about it is that you do that, you continue working on that, gradually investing into the cameras, good lens, buy good lens and all that, and you would move up gradually. Don't be in a race, don't be in a haste to be the best. But my advice to you is this: set a goal for yourself, which was what I did. When I started, I set a goal for myself. I said within the next 5 years, I wanted to be amongst the best photographers in my locality. I mean, in Ibadan or around. And to be honest with you, before the 5 years were up, any gig I go to, I had the best cameras, I had the best gig and everything and all that kind. So set a 5-year goal for yourself. If you're just starting off, don't set a 5 months goal. It's unrealistic. Set a 5-year goal and be real about it. Be realistic about what you want to achieve. Not that, okay, within the next 5 years I want to own a skyscraper of 30-story building and I'll call it Studio. I mean, that's I don't know, unless maybe doing other things beyond photography. Thank you.
Okay, so did you ever have any maybe bad experience? Maybe you were shooting in a studio or at an event where everything just went sideways and you felt like just walking away, maybe due to pressure of people or the industry itself?
Yeah, well, the honest truth is that every business has its challenges. I've had a few challenges. Not that I felt like giving up, but let me give you an instance. Okay, there was a particular time. I'll give you 2 instances. Okay, it was during the analog days, and I told you always carry 2 cameras. So I had these 2 cameras on me, and I think I was becoming very overconfident with myself that not what can go wrong, nothing can go wrong, and everything, but I'm okay and all that. So it was a registry and a reception. So during the registry was a bit rowdy. The camera that was on my side, as one of those photographers wasn't looking at where it was going. He just jammed into me. As he jammed into me, my flash gun on my camera, he broke it from the hot shoe, and the thing fell. I was like, and all he could say was sorry. I was like, what kind of rubbish is this? But I continued shooting and everything, but I was a bit disturbed because I was like, and things like that. So by the time we got to the reception, the other camera too started giving me some issues. I was battling with them in my mind and everything, trying to make sure that I overcame the situation at the present time. To the extent that I think there were some other photographers, by the time it was analog and you needed to focus your camera manually so that you get a sharp picture. So I was delaying in my focus and the groom was getting irritated. I was like, what's happening and everything. And I said, just take it easy. Meanwhile, the other papa guy would have taken picture, would have said, oh, yeah, okay, and everything. So I did that. I was able to manage the situation, and that went fine. Thank God for that. The other situation was during my my digital days. Was also an engagement. This was also in Lagos. I was shooting, quite right. I was shooting. I still was shooting with my 2 cameras and everything. So I had my flash gun on my camera and all that. And I now stood up on the stage. It was in a hall. And there were these ceiling fans rotating up. And I had forgotten. I just raised up my camera with the cleaning, and the ceiling fan just chopped off. The flash was a loud bang, bow! Chopped up the flash with the hot shoe, with the pop-up flash, chopped up everything, and I was like, what? Yeah, I had the second camera, I shot. That was on a Thursday. On a Friday, meanwhile, on the Thursday, somebody had called me that there was a camera for sale. And on that Friday, because I was an interview before Saturday, on that Friday I called the person from Ibadan. From Lagos. The person was in Ibadan. I said, do you have, the person wanted to say the exact camera I was using. I said, do you have, he said, yes, I have a D90 and everything. I said, okay, send it to me in Lagos and all that kind. I wired the 150,000 to him like that, straight away. I didn't even bat an eyelid that, okay, what's happening, what am I going to do and all that. So I wired the money to him just to, and thank God the wedding came and all that. But by Friday evening I had collected the other camera, because I could not go to the events with just one camera. And that is what I've told you, that it's always safer when you have a backup camera whereby you are using. But nowadays people carry 2 cameras, not knowing the essence of 2 cameras. There has to be a backup, there has to be a 4 camera, and having 2 cameras has saved me a lot of stress. In one way or the other, I have been saved from being humiliated because I had a backup camera. So really, I've not really had a time where I wanted to give up. But I think in 2015, at one point in time, I actually got tired of photography, and I was like, is it just to be shooting, just shoot people, shoot weddings. At that point in time, I'd done over 500 weddings. 500 was being even, because at a point in time we used to do like 50 weddings in a year. So we've done way past 500. So I was tired of just shooting weddings, just shooting burials, just shooting birthdays. And I was like, what else could I do? This was what I knew how to do. Unfortunately, I didn't know better that I could try other things, even though they're not in my area of strength, but I could have played with it. And that is one thing I learned from Kelechi Amadiobi in the last thing that we did, the expo that we had a few months back. He has been able to move around. He's done baby photography, he's done fashion, he's done wedding, he's done all kinds, advertising. So at that point in time I felt like, though I was still shooting, but my drive was not, my passion had really waned and everything. And from there I learned a lesson that if you are not climbing your mountain, you are sliding down one. If you are not climbing the next mountain, you are going down one. So I revived myself, and I got my groove back, and that has kept me going.
So what is your advice for anyone that has gone ahead in the field, that just started out, and the ones that are planning to start? What should they do, sir?
My advice to anyone coming into photography is this. One, no, photography is an expensive hobby. Why did I say it's expensive? For you to get good gears, you'll spend good money. Number 2 thing is that photography is for creative minds. The more creative you are, the better you'll be. 3 is learn to sell yourself. Don't sell yourself short, but learn to sell yourself. Learn to let people know who you are. But at the same time, you have to start small. When I say sell yourself, in the sense that yes, you know what you're doing, you know your arts and everything, but you don't overprice yourself and don't underprice yourself. Why did I say that? Because I advise people, whatever you're doing, whatever business you're doing, be like the Igbo man that will tell you, God, this one, now cost price that they sell them. Igbo man will never sell it anything to you at cost price. His profit margin may be smaller than what he would have wanted, but he will never sell it at a cost price, talk less of selling at a loss. So don't sell your art at a loss. Whatever you are doing, because you are hungry and everything, always put up a small margin. I mean something. And you see, like they say, it's easier for you if you are in a job to change jobs than for you to be looking for a job. Do you get what I mean? So once you put your leg into what you are doing, maybe a client's heart and everything, they decide that they want to use you, don't overprice yourself and be looking at maybe Kelechi that is collecting 5 million for a gig, and you feel like, you too, what, I can collect 1.5 million. What do you have that you want to justify your 1.5 million or 2 million or something like that? I'm not saying that you cannot collect that, but there's a process. You see, there is seed, there is time, and there is harvest. The seed is your passion, your skill. Then there is time for that skill to grow, and there is the harvest of that skill. So do that. Then majorly you have to be a person of character. You have to be a person of impeccable character. You have to be a person that can be relied upon. You see, what has helped me for the 22 years is because people can rely on me. They can say, okay, with Shollots, don't worry, you get the job done, and you go to sleep about it. Not that they'll give you money and they'll start calling you and you say, you're just not there or something like that. One thing I see in a lot of young people nowadays is that a lot of them are very proud. They feel that because they're holding a 2 million naira camera, they are above the world, they are above others and everything. And like the Bible says and like English says, pride comes before the fall. You have to be humble in this business. You have to be able to work with other people. Whoever we are looking up to, if you get to an event, don't just do, we are the ones where I'm the official photographer for the bride, you know. That comes with a bit of air around it because they're the official photo. God help you if your guest should malfunction. I mean, or if you lose your pictures or something like that, what would you do? Somebody that you had already posed for, somebody that you have said that you've looked down upon. So you have to have good character. You have to be a man of your word. You have to be somebody that can be depended upon, not somebody that can be trusted upon. And also be friendly. Be friendly. Always think out of the box. Always think of ways of, okay, how can I do this thing? You see, there's this copycat mentality that a lot of us follow. This person has done weddings, and you to feel this wedding. Fine, weddings brings money, quick money, and events bring quick money. But you may think of art, you may think of documentary photography, you may think of other things. But do that at a pace. Just do it gradually. Like I said, set a goal for yourself. You set a goal. Set a 5-year goal for yourself. Where do I see myself in the next 5 years? I mean, you must be able to ask that question, because you don't want. Because when I went into photography was not as flamboyant, as lucrative as it was. I was a graduate going into a job or a business whereby it was just artisans that were in. That my father did not even want to reckon with. People did not. I mean, I had my friends that were, at that time, they were going into banking and everything. And I decided I wanted to do photography. And, going into it and everything, it was a gradual process. You had to convince them and all that. And that's how we did that, a gradual thing. So it's a seed. There's a seed, there's a time, and there's harvest. That time factor cannot be overemphasized or underemphasized. And if you ever read this book by Malcolm Gladwell, there's a 10,000 hour rule. They've done a research that for you to be an excellent, for you to be above par, you must have spent at least 10,000 hours on that field for you to be above average in that field. And 10,000 hours is almost like if you are doing it every consistently, you know, if you are doing it, if you say, okay, I want to be doing it, 10,000 hours, when you divide it, I mean, you can't be doing that thing for 24 hours a day. Do you understand? So I mean, that's like 500 days. That's if you are doing it 24 hours a day, that's like 500 days or something like that, and multiply that by, so 10,000 hours averagely. To be honest with you, if you are spending 5 hours committed, dedicated into that thing for 5 hours every single day, it would amount to nothing less than 5 years for you to actually become a guru in that field. So you cannot, that 10,000 hour rule, it works for most things. So be ready to pay that price, and there's a price to pay. There's a price to pay. Sleepless nights, working on computers, long hours of looking at your computer screen, editing. It takes microseconds to take pictures, but it can take hours, days to finish just a picture, depending on the complexity of what you want to do. So basically, that's what I want to say.
Wow. Even me, I was able to learn a lot from this session. Hope you did too. So I hope to see you in my next video, and there are many more surprises for this month of May. I won't let the cat out of the bag yet. So don't forget to hit the like button, give this video a thumbs up, let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and subscribe to this channel if you have not. See you in my next video. Bye bye.